The last operator I'm going to talk about is the arrow operator. The arrow operator is written as an arrow, just like you may remember or may be familiar for pointer dereferencing from other languages. And the arrow operator allows us to load a set of relationships and use the subject of those relationships as an object for further computation. So just switching back to my editor, I've gone ahead and simplified the model a little bit just to make it more clear what the arrow is doing in isolation. And we'll go ahead and document that the arrow operator is expressed as a hyphen followed by a greater than sign, or just the arrow. And the arrow operator allows us to actually transition from one object definition to another object definition and continue our computation. Or we can even define a recursive relationship between one object definition and itself. So in our example, we've been dealing with documents, and a really natural extension point for documents is to create a folder that the document belongs to, and then inherit some permissions from the folder itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new object definition called a folder. And then we're going to add a relation coming out from the document. So starting from the document, and we're going to call its parent of type folder. Okay, so what this is saying is that a document belongs to a folder, or a document has a parent of type folder. And now that we've created this relation, we'll go ahead and fill in the relationship in our example relationships as well. So we're going to say document quarterly planning has parent, and this is folder. We'll call these planning. The folder will be called planning. Okay. So now we can go back to our expected relations and we can just verify that that's working as we expect. So we'll do document quarterly planning parent, and we'll ask it to regenerate. Some other things changed as well because I simplified the model and didn't regenerate, but you can see here that quarterly planning does belong or does have a relation called parent to a folder, and that folder is called planning. So what can we do with this? We can start adding relations to the folder. So maybe we want the folder itself to have a reader and an owner. We'll define those as type user as well. Later on, we can extend this to be groups or other things, but for now, we'll have a folder, have a reader and owner. And then the arrow operator becomes very powerful because now we can say for who can view a document, we want the document's direct readers and owners to be able to view it, but we also want the parent's readers and the parent owner to be able to view the document. Okay? And remember, in this case, the parent is a folder. So what's happening here, and we'll go ahead and we'll add some folder readers and owners. So we'll have an owner, user, folder owner 1. And then we'll have a reader, folder reader 1. Okay. So what's happening here is the arrow is telling the engine, is telling SpiceDB to first load all of the relationships that have the relation defined parent and that start from a particular object. So in this case, the object is document quarterly planning. So that loads this relationship right here. Then what it says is to take the folder planning and to use that as the resource side of a further computation, and to then load the owners, load the matching relationships, the owners and the readers for that folder. Okay? So we'll go ahead and we'll extend our other our edit and our delete to include the folder owners as well too. Parent owner. So now that we've got all of our relationship or all of our permissions computed correctly, let's go ahead and ask it to regenerate. Now we can see that the folder owner is also allowed to delete, the folder owner is also allowed to edit, and the folder owner is also allowed to view. And the folder reader is also allowed to view the document as well. On top of that, remember how we skipped create when we were talking about our CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete? That was because we didn't have a container from which to create it. So usually when you're creating a new document, you're creating it within the context of something. So in this case, we could add a permission create doc on our folder, and we could say that only the folder owner is allowed to create documents. And we can again go ahead and test that, where we can say folder planning, and then we want to do who can create a document. And now we see that the folder owner is allowed to create a document within that folder. And that's it for the arrow. So the arrow is very powerful, and the arrow lets you basically continue this type of traversal to sort of arbitrary lengths.